Hello, this is Victor. I want to do a video showing how I paint this tank of the tower. So this tank will have this turret that is going to be used as a scare ride. This is from Forge Wall. Okay. And also we will have these drones with missile pods in that position. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the freehand. So what I did is first I did a layer. I primed the miniature in white and I did a layer of or two thin layers of purple on the tank. Have to be quite thin, very diluted, to ensure that you don't cover the tail and you don't see the brush marks. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint a freehand of flames over the tank. For that I will use pallid witch flesh that is a little bit grayish but is almost not noticeable, and I will use fine detail brush. And what I will do first is I will delimit the zones where I want the flames. So the paint have to be thin, and I will start drawing the flames where I want them to go, and from that point first I will just make the limit where I want the white to be, and I will start making the flames. Doesn't matter if you don't have a lot of precision in this first part, you only want to delimit where the flames will be, and then, so for example I will do something like that. And I do this as the first step because this is like doing the base. It's the same as making the base color for the tank. So if some of the flames are not very sharp at the end, don't be worried, because later on we will correct this with the purple and we will do several layers. So here we can make long flame. We'll start another flame in that point here. It will be even longer than the previous one. Now here on the front we will do some short frames. Simply we'll do one that is not arriving to the cockpit. Then we can do another one that is going over the cockpit. Don't worry, I prefer to paint. I know that the glass will go in a different color, but I like to paint all over the details, because you want to know how the flame will follow, what is the pattern that the flame will follow. You see, now I'm just delimiting where the flames will be. Now I will do another long flame. these flames. For example, this one in that side, we can make go over the top, and then what we can do in that case is we make it like that, and we duplicate the flame here, just making something different. And now and the next thing I will do, I will start filling the flames with the same color. Again, the paint have to be very thin, and most likely I will need to do two layers. So this is how you delimit, and now what I will do is I will change brush. I will go for thicker brush. In that case, will take. I can use this one. This is a wash brush from Games Workshop, and dilute the paint. Be sure that the paint is not thick, and I will start doing the first layer. I will do 2 layers. So you see, you can still see the purple below, so it's better to do 2 layers in that case than 1 thick layer. So I don't care if these lines are not fully covered, because I will do them in black later on. So I'm not concerned if I don't go into these crevices there. You have this. The only problem of this brush is you have to keep making a nice tip when you go to the end of the flame. And as I said before, don't be too concerned. So if you want to finish in a nice peak, you can also do it with that brush. So I will keep doing that, and I will be back once the first layer is done. So this is how it's looking like after the first layer. So now what I'm going to do is I will apply a second layer of the same white. And you will see that after applying the second layer, the result is much better. So you see this part here have the second layer applied. I will do a little bit more. And now it's really covering, and you don't see that easily. So maybe you will need a third layer to avoid to see the brush marks on the paint. But again, the paint have to be quite thin. So this is how it's looking. You see this part here have the second layer on top of that. So it looks much better for the second layer. So I will do the second layer carefully as the first one. And if you see that you're still not happy, maybe we need a third layer of white. So you see, this is a flame with a second layer. This is a flame with only one layer. So, and here you see that this part is not, maybe the edge is not well defined on the flame. So don't be concerned, because later on we will use again the purple to make a hard and a well-defined edge on the flames. Okay, so here we have 2 layers, here we only have 1 layer. So I will be back once the second layer is fully applied. This is how it's looking like after 2 layers, and I think I will go for a third layer. I want this to be quite a solid white, so I will go for a third layer on the white, and this time I will use Citadel standard brush. So again, I like to dilute to make it thin and go over the white. We want this to be very thin, and here the objective is to make the paint very solid in the flames. So if you mess up a little bit out of the flames, it's not an issue. It's better that you get a very solid color on the flames, and then later on you correct the mistakes. Because if you pay too much attention to the flames, sometimes what happens is that your paint will be too thick, and then you will start leaving brush marks on the painting, and this is what you want to avoid on all this paint work. So you want to make a solid white that is thin and have not brush marks. So again, very dilute. If you are not that precise, don't be too much concerned. As you know, the flames are looking pretty nice, and maybe in some of the extreme of the flames I will need to do a little bit more, or maybe to touch a little bit after. So, but no, if this happens because I'm using no very thin paint, this can happen. This is why I do the white the first, because I want very nice white. My objective is to, and I know that this can be very messy when you put very thin paint, but now it's looking quite solid, the white, and later on you see here I have also the same problem. It's so liquid in some part that I go into these recesses or into these slots in the tank. Don't be worried, later on we will do the slots with black wash. So this will have to look like, and now we will leave it to dry, so that the nose is a little bit transparent. It's still a little bit too transparent. I will apply a little bit more, but this will have to look like. I will let it dry now, and I will be back once it's fully dry. In the meantime, what I will do, I will apply the same technique of the flames to do the white decoration. For example, this armor panel will go white, so I will start applying white on all this panel. I will follow exactly the same process as the flames for all the white panels of the decoration of the tank. Just 2 to 3 layers of very thin painting. So I will be back once I did some of the decoration and the flames are fully dry. Okay, now the white is done. It's quite solid. Here I have to do again another layer, but I'm waiting that it's completely dry. So what I will do next, I will start applying the black part, but I will start first with the big areas and using Abaddon's black. So I will paint, for example, this on black. I will paint this that will be metallic later on black. So, and it's always the same. So paint have to be very thin. So I will water a little bit the paint and just apply here, for example. As always, it's better if it's needed two thin layers than one thick. Two thin layers than one thick layer. So just when I paint vehicles and I want smooth finishing, also work with very thin paint. So it's just apply this paint where it's needed for the vehicle, and I will do all the black parts now. So this is going to be the basis to then to start painting more details and doing all the highlights later on. This will be the last part. But first I want to delimit all the areas. For example, all this thing around the turret that will be metallic, I also apply black. We have to be careful with this black from Citadel, because sometimes it's quite thick, so be sure that you thin it right. And it's better that you have first this type of application that is not very nice, and you do 2 layers. So because if not, you will see the brush marks on the painting and it's not looking nice, especially if later on you want to put metallic on top. So I always have water next to me and I thin down with water. So you see that the paint is quite watery. This is okay. I prefer to do 2 layers and have better finishing. Also, having the paint thinner is helping you in spreading the paint on the surface, especially over this purple. This purple is it's like rough paint, it's very matte. So normally there are some paints that needs help to spread correctly, and especially over this purple, I will recommend always to use the paint quite thin to be able to have a good spread of the paint and that the paint is running correctly. So always here, very carefully, you do the edges of this. Sorry if you cannot see this on the camera, it's quite difficult to. With the side of the brush, do this, and in that case, because one side is black, I will also do the slot here. We have to have a nice change, and again some water, paint, and keep going. So that's what I want to explain. I will be back when I applied all the black. Okay, now that black is done and almost done with the base colors, I will start doing all these slots, and I will use Nun oil. And for that, to do this work, we need a very thin brush. So now that the black is done, what I will use Nun oil to paint all these slots between armor plates. So you take a little bit, you have to be very careful and you just apply on the slot, because it's a wash. The paint normally will go into the slot. So this maybe is one of the work that would take more time. You have to be very patient and go slot by slot, but you see at the end the result is deserved. So you will see that you will have very nice finishing with when painting the slots like that. So you have to go slot by slot. Then what I will do, I will apply this wash on the window, on the front window, because later on I will do this on the orangey color. So here I can apply like that, and later on I will do the inside of the window. Other thing I recommend, for example, when you have this type of features on the armor, is you surround this with a very thin line of the wash. It will help in a very nice, giving a very nice shadowing. So this is nothing more than going slowly, slot by slot, and you have to use, the best is to use a wash or ink to do that, because we'll go very easily into the slot. You only have to apply it just touching the slot a little bit, and you will see that the paint naturally will go into this slot. Of course you need some precision. If you see how I put my hands, I put both hands support on the table to help me on being precise on that part. So, and just it's a matter of passion. Normally what I would recommend, do one face, and once this face is done, wait a little bit, do the next face, facing of the tank, and so on, so to ensure that the wash is drying completely and you don't messing up when doing another side of the tank. So that's all for this stage. I will keep doing this. Sometimes in some slots you will need to apply it twice to have a nice line. Here, for example, I will do the frame of this type of ventilation system. The other point here, I do this at this stage because if you do know any mistake, you will correct later on with the original color. So this is the side with the slots done, and this is the side where the slots are not done. So I think you can see the difference from the top, one side versus the other. The finishing is much better when you do the slots. So I will stop here and I will be back once all the little slots are done. Okay, this is how it's looking like after doing the slots, and now I will go to make sharper the transition between the purple and the white. In the meantime, I also work on other parts of the tank, so I prefer to work them on assembly because are easy to manipulate. So you see, in the meantime, I also did the slots and the white on other parts. And here I start painting the missiles with the orange that I'm using for the rest of the army. So now what I did is I put some, I will take purple, and then I will start following the flames to ensure the transition is sharp. And then on the areas where the flame is finishing, I will go over to make it sharp as well, and have a very thin finishing. If in some areas in some parts I see that the curve is not good, I will repeat the curve, and then I will do this over all the flames to make sure they look sharp, and we don't see this like an aureole around the free paint, the freehand paint. So you see, let me go for examples. This one is too thick here at the end, so what I will do, I will go with the purple and I will try to make the curvature inside. And here you see that the transition is not sharp, so I will follow the white that way. It's looking much better. Here the same, and there's a mistake on the white here, so I will correct this one. So this is the idea. So now I will offset all the flames with the original purple, and I will be back once I finish this work. So now the freehand of the flames is done on the vehicle. We'll proceed to do some orange decoration. I will use blazing orange as I use. So I use blazing orange as I use in other parts on the painting of the Tau suits, and I will apply this on these things. This will give a very vibrant color that will contrast with the purple very, very nicely. As you have seen, I use the same color on the missile heads. So most likely I will need to do 2 layers of this color. So this is 1 layer. We'll need to do the second one, so I will wait until it's completely dry, and I will do this one. And after that I will start working on the details on each part. So I will go area by area or part by part of the vehicle, starting from the bottom, and I will start painting I will start doing the different details. I will not do a video of all the details of the tank, because I don't think it's worth. I only will do some videos of the main techniques of the tanks while I'm doing the rest of the details. So here you see we'll take a thinner brush to do the front windscreen here. We'll also do orange. So this one here on the top is too thin. So when you do the second layer, it's looking much better. If you see that it's too thick, sometimes when you see to match the brush marks, it's good to put I add some water, and then it will need time to dry, but the finishing is going to be much uniform. You see, it's very thin, this paint that I'm playing, so you will need now to wait that it's dry to work on other parts, because it's very easy that you mess up painting other parts. So this will be finished in the first part of the tutorial, where I do all the basing. So this is now have all the base colors to start doing the details, and later on I will do the highlights. I will start doing the details on the bottom. I will start brushing here and working on this part, because this is the part that is at the bottom. I prefer to work on the bottom and then finish always on the top. This is the part that I need, that is more clean at the end of the painting. So this part should be the cleaner one, and this is why I like to do the end part here. Okay, so I finished this tutorial here, and I will do more little tutorials to explain how I do this windscreen, and if it's needed, how I do the highlights on the armor plate of the vehicle. So this is all for this tutorial. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you again later. Bye!